will keep the borders to neighbouring countries closed until at least January 31 next year. And according to officials, that won't be the end of it. It's just the latest African nation to shut down its borders. Kenya closed its border with Somalia in June. In August, Rwanda briefly shut some crossings with the Democratic Republic of Congo. In September, Sudan did the same with Libya and the Central African Republic, citing security and economic dangers. Nigeria then closed its borders to Benin, Niger and Cameroon, it says, to curtail smuggling of rice and other goods. The closures are a slap in the face of the continent's integration efforts. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement provides for the free movement of goods and persons throughout Africa. 54 countries, including Nigeria, have signed it. Nigeria's move is causing havoc for its neighbours who depend on Africa's biggest economy for survival.
Traders in the city of Maradi in Niger are desperate for their border crossing to Nigeria to open. They can no longer sell rice or other food produce on the other side. And trade with Nigeria is their biggest source of income. We're very angry. The Nigerian border closure is causing a lot of harm to the people. They can't get on with the business they earn their money with, so we're very angry with them closing this border. The closure has had many effects. We import and export a lot of things to our good neighbor Nigeria, but what it has done is not fair. We want the border reopened as soon as possible. People in Niger and other Nigerian neighbors are extremely dependent on trade with what is Africa's most populous country. And even though those countries also import goods from Nigeria, it's still keeping its borders sealed. The authorities want to clamp down on what enters the country and where.
Goods that are on the prohibition list of Nigeria, such as rice, used clothing, poultry products, etc., and vegetable oil, should not be exported to the country. As a result of this closure, Niger Republic has already circulated an order banning exportation of rice in any form to Nigeria.
For now, imports can only come in through Nigeria's sea and airports, which are easier to monitor and control. The government says land borders will remain closed until at least January 31 next year.
Joy Doreen Bira is following this story for us from Kenya. Joy, Nigeria's customs agency trumpets this as an overwhelming success, but what's it doing to business?
It's hurting businesses because when you look at the businesses at the border areas in most of the African countries, the biggest players there are small businesses. These fall in the category of micro and small enterprises. So definitely the ban on the importation or movement of goods by land is going to hurt most of their businesses. But also when you look at a country like Ghana, which is next to Nigeria, it is also hurting because most of the goods that come through Niger have to go through Nigeria before they can get to Ghana, for instance. So that is definitely going to be a negative effect on all the neighboring countries, which also happen to be members of the economic community of West African states. And that in itself is going to hurt its regional bloc trade as well.
And so many more countries than we think hurting here. Well, what if this drags on a lot longer? I mean, it sounds like it could.
Well, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Ghana today did ask that they should convene an emergency meeting to address this issue, because if it's going to continue past 31st of January 2020, then the entire region is going to get paralyzed. As of today, we were also seeing some of the Ghanaian traders as well protesting, and they were shutting down some of the Nigerian traders' shops in areas like the southern parts of Ghana. So this doesn't look good. It could actually turn out to be one of those economic attacks or wars that we are seeing between Nigeria and its neighbors.
Just briefly, what is really behind this? Because it sounds so counterproductive at a time that the continent's trying to create this pan-African free trade zone.
That's right. Well, I guess the biggest reason here is that Nigeria thinks it can protect its locally produced goods. You can actually look at the list of what has been banned: rice and tomatoes, as well as beer and vegetable oil. And Nigeria is defending itself and saying, they can locally produce this, so we do not have, or Nigeria does not have to have these same products imported. But the ripple effect is that now prices of these very